You're listening to Seven Horns AI, your AI-powered market update. It's Wednesday, May 27th, 2026, and we're bringing you a midday market check as trading continues on Wall Street. The market is little changed overall this afternoon, reflecting a mixed tape beneath the surface. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is modestly higher, up about 0.4%, and it even touched a fresh intraday record earlier in the session, surging nearly 300 points at its peak. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq Composite, however, are essentially flat after giving back modest opening gains. Markets opened higher across the board this morning, building on a mixed but generally positive overnight Asian session where Japan's Nikkei and Korea's Kospi saw strong moves. Pre-market futures for the major U.S. indices were pointing up by roughly 0.3 to 0.8%. The initial catalysts were twofold: ongoing AI-driven optimism that had already pushed the S&P 500 and Nasdaq to record closes on Monday, and a sharp drop in oil prices tied to renewed hopes for a U.S.-Iran peace deal. The Dow rode that momentum to its intraday record. However, that early bid faded by midday. The S&P 500 drifted from positive territory into slightly negative ground before clawing back to near flat, while the Nasdaq followed a similar arc. The Dow has held its gains better, thanks to strength in non-tech cyclicals. The afternoon session has been a bit of a grind, with semiconductors, a key leadership group, under some pressure, and geopolitical currents from the Middle East keeping a lid on risk appetite, even as oil's decline provides an offsetting tailwind. Looking at individual movers, Meta Platforms is the clear mega-cap leader today, surging more than 3% with no single obvious catalyst, likely reflecting continued AI monetization optimism and ad spending strength. Amazon and Tesla are also posting solid gains of 1.5% or more. On the flip side, Microsoft and Nvidia are both in the red by less than 1%, part of the broader semiconductor and enterprise software softness that's weighing on the Nasdaq. Beyond the megacaps, Zscaler is the session's biggest story, hammered down nearly 32% today, a massive single-day wipeout that appears tied to an earnings report or guidance cut. PDD Holdings is down almost 12%, reflecting broader China weakness. Global Foundries and Navitas are both down around 9 to 10%, underscoring a rough day for many semiconductor names despite the broader AI narrative. On the upside, Iris Energy and AppLovin are both up over 11%. Iris Energy is riding the AI infrastructure and data center wave, and AppLovin continues its stunning ad tech momentum run. The biggest macro catalyst today is the optimism surrounding a potential Iran peace deal. This is crushing crude oil prices, which are down approximately 5%, and it's unwinding safe haven demand, with gold sliding 1.3%. This is a dual-edged sword, generally good for consumers and inflation, but it introduces geopolitical uncertainty. The AI trade is also showing signs of rotation today, with the strength in software and ad tech names contrasting with weakness in some semiconductor stocks. As we head towards the close, we'll be watching for any further earnings news. Tonight, Salesforce, Synopsys, and Marvell are all scheduled to report, and their results will further set the tone for the tech and AI trade. With the S&P 500 and Nasdaq largely unchanged, and the Dow posting modest gains, tonight's Asian Open will watch for continuity from the positive aspects of today's session, despite some underlying weakness in certain sectors. That's your midday market check from Seven Horns AI. Stay sharp, and we'll catch you at the close.